Let me say bonjour à tout le monde. C'est le dernier cours, ou presque le dernier cours pour le semestre. So, aujourd'hui, nous sommes le 5 novembre 2020 et nous allons continuer un peu le chapitre 4, mais aussi on va regarder ensemble l'examen. So your tests were mostly okay, but there was a lot of confusion on the direct object pronouns, and specifically the direct object pronouns that are the word order seems to have been what really flustered some of you. So we're going to just look at that together, and hopefully it'll make more sense. Part of French 102 is mastering those direct object pronouns. So mostly you were fine with the passé imparfait and the dates, and the translations went well. And then we had those direct object and indirect object pronouns. And so I'm just going to do them and so that you can understand. They're going to show up on the last test as well, which will be the week after next. So, elle dit qu'elle aime Christophe. So you want to think of your direct object pronoun as something that replaces Christophe, right? So we're looking at Christophe here. That's a direct object. Elle dit qu'elle aime Christophe. So you need a direct object pronoun. The direct object pronouns are me, te, le, la, vous, pardon, nous, vous, and les. Okay, so who does she love? She loves him, Christophe. So we have to, oops, why is that there? Go away. So we have to figure out which one is going to replace Christophe because it's a direct object pronouns. Donc, elle dit, let me just put in another. Boop. Elle dit qu'elle l'aime. Elle dit qu'elle l'aime. Elle dit qu'elle l'aime. So it's just L apostrophe égale Christophe. Christophe. So it's the L is le. Okay, je quitte l'album. So album, if you don't know, it's masculine. Je l'écoute. Je l'écoute. Nous chantons les chansons de limonade. So nous, les, the chansons, or les chantons. Ensemble. On peut dire nous les chantons ensemble. Nous invitons nos amis chez nous. Donc, you're tempted to say, let's look at it if you said this. Nous invitons. That means you're inviting yourself. So you're not doing that. You're inviting them. Les. Nous les invitons. Nous les invitons chez nous. All right, let's go down. So I have no idea why the direct object pronouns seem to make sense to you guys, whereas the indirect didn't. So here we have il fête la fête de Halloween au parc. So it is feminine. Donc, il la fête. The direct object pronoun goes before the verb. Qu'est-ce qu'il fait? Il fête la fête d'Halloween. Il la fête, and you could put it in au, no, well, let me do that. Au parc. Il la fête au parc. Il s'appelle Henri André. Okay, they call this person Henri André. Donc, il l'appelle Henri André. Oh, I'm sorry. Il l'appelle. They call him what? It's that name. Il l'appelle. So the le here is just Henri. It's the name, the first name, Henri, André. So that's what they call him. Il l'appelle. Nous regardons la télévision. So that one, some of you got that. Nous la regardons. The plural, we watch a series, so it's plural. Tu aimes. What do you like? The series. It's plural. Tu les aimes? So it's asking, you like them? The series on Hulu. Elle n'aime pas la musique. Elle ne l'aime pas. Elle ne l'aime pas. Elle ne l'aime pas. Okay, and then the last one, and we'll just look at those indirect object pronouns quickly. Last one, nous fêtons ton anniversaire demain. Nous le fêtons. What are we fêting? Ton anniversaire. Nous le fêtons demain. Nous le fêtons demain. All right, then we had the indirect object pronouns. So those are direct objects. These are indirect object pronouns down here. And for whatever reason, some of you seem to understand this one. Il dit à moi qu'il ne m'aime plus. Il me dit. Il me dit. Il me dit qu'il ne m'aime plus. Christine n'est pas sympa. Je ne parle jamais à Christine. Je ne lui parle jamais. Je ne lui parle jamais. So before I go any further, let's look at the indirect object pronouns. So the indirect object pronouns are very similar to the direct ones for me and te, but for elle, il, it is lui. Il, elle, on, lui. Nous, vous, and leur. So those are the indirect object pronouns. Ma mère a donné un gâteau à mon père. À qui? À mon père, donc lui. Elle lui a donné un gâteau. Achète un cadeau pour lui. Achète-lui un cadeau. Qu'est-ce que vous allez dire aux étudiants? Qu'est-ce que vous allez leur, pluriel, dire? Jacques est tellement méchant, il n'a pas envoyé les fleurs à moi. Donc, Jacques ne m'a pas envoyé les fleurs. Qui a donné un cadeau à toi? Qui t'a donné un cadeau? Ici, nous avons, regarde, il nous apporte des croissants. Il a dit à moi qu'il n'aime plus Aïcha. Il me dit qu'il n'aime plus Aïcha. So let's just erase those, and then nobody did the extra points here, but this is what we're going to talk about today, putting in more than one indirect, direct object pronoun. So a sentence with two pronouns, direct and indirect, would be like, je te le donne. Je donne à toi un cadeau. Je te le, the cadeau, donne. I give it to you. So it's the word order that is different, and that's what makes it hard for English speakers. Okay, we're going to stop that, and we're going to go on to a little PowerPoint. So out of there. So I would go back, or I would watch this video with your test and see how you did on that. Okay, let's go to the PowerPoint, which is going to be a whole review of direct and indirect object pronouns, and then we're going to get to two indirect and direct object pronouns that you get on the slides. Did I sign out? No, I did not. Okay. So we're going to have a whole little review. Let me share the screen. Boop, boop, and voila. Okay. So here's all the pronouns, all the direct and indirect. You have me, te, vous, nous, le, la, les, lui, leur, ils, on. Tu me parles, tu ne me parles pas. Tu m'as parlé, tu ne m'as pas parlé. Tu vas me parler, tu ne vas pas me parler. Parle-moi, ne me parle pas. So when it is the imperative, when you're telling somebody what to do, speak to me, parle-moi. So the way I learned these last two pronouns, and these are the order in which they go in a sentence. E-on, 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 the sound a donkey makes is how I learned the order. So everybody knows je t'aime. Okay, so there's the word order. Je t'aime, I love you, I, you, love. Eric me téléphone, Anne te parle, tu nous téléphones, je vous parle, you call us, tu nous téléphones. Here's the le la les. Par exemple, un film, je regarde le film, je le regarde. Elle voit la fille, elle la voit. Elle apporte les fleurs, elle les apporte. Tu trouves les clés, tu les trouves, tu ne les trouves pas. Elle finit le livre, elle le finit, elle ne le finit pas. The book. Vous invitez Claudine. So Claudine is now going to become L apostrophe. Vous l'invitez. Vous ne l'invitez pas. Okay. Here is the L apostrophe. Encore, elle écoute la radio, elle l'écoute. Nous cherchons le livre, nous les cherchons. Tu connais Philippe, tu le connais. Le is Philippe. Elle a trouvé le livre, elle l'a trouvé. So passé composé. Vous avez invité Sébastien, vous l'avez invité. Just some other ways of viewing it. The le, la, les. Je regarde le film, je le regarde. Elle voit la fille, elle la voit. Elle apporte les livres, elle les apporte. Encore, passé composé. So this is a pretty hard concept that I don't really hold 102s responsible for, but I would like to introduce the concept. J'ai vu Caroline, je l'ai vue. So all of a sudden you see that E at the end there. That is because Caroline is feminine. So when the direct object pronoun in passé composé is before the verb, you have to make that past participle agree in gender and number. Tu as apporté les livres, tu les as apportés. There's the agreement. Vous avez rendu les photos, vous les avez rendues. So YE because photo is feminine and YS because it's plural. Elle a pris les livres, elle les a pris. Why do we not have an E or an S? Well, because even though livre is feminine, even though livre is masculine and plural, there's no way to indicate that plurality with that particular past participle. So elle les a pris, but we know that it's them, the books, because there's the direct object pronoun les. Here's the indirect object pronoun. So me, te, lui, nous, vous, leur. And so these are used when you have the preposition à to speak to someone, to whom. So, je parle à ma mère, je lui parle, to my mother. Elle écrit à ses grands-parents, elle leur écrit. Here's some examples. Tu réponds au professeur, you respond to the professor. Tu lui réponds. Even if it's a feminine professor, lui is the proper indirect object pronoun. Tu ne lui réponds pas, la négation. Tu rends visite à nous rendons visite à nos grands-parents. Nous leur rendons visite, nous ne leur rendons pas visite. Il téléphone à Fabienne. Il lui téléphone. Il ne lui téléphone pas. So you call to someone, you respond to the professor, you visit to your grandparents. So when there's that little preposition to, you have to use an indirect object pronoun. The agreement in the passé composé only with direct object pronouns. So j'ai vu Christine. What did I see? I saw Christine. Je l'ai vu. Christine is feminine. I have to put the E on the past participle. J'ai parlé à Christine. So direct object pronouns in French do not have to agree. The past participle does not change with an indirect object pronoun. All of these take an indirect object pronoun. So, par exemple, let's really big. I won't let me do that. Okay. So, écrire à quelqu'un. J'écris à mon mari. Je lui écris. Je lui écris. Je demande. Let's do tu. Tu demandes au professeur. Tu demandes au professeur. Tu lui demandes. Vous donnez un cadeau aux parents. You give your parents a present. Vous leur donnez un cadeau. Okay, so hopefully that's starting to make some sense. Indirect object pronouns. In the passé composé, tu l'as invité, Charles. Elle la voit, Bernadette. Vous leur avez dit à Philippe et à Claire, bonjour. Nous allons donner les photos au professeur. Nous allons lui donner les photos. So again, direct object pronouns, indirect object pronouns. When you have direct object pronouns in a sentence, they go before the indirect object pronoun. So this is the word order. If you have a sentence with two kinds of pronouns, it's going to go like this. Je te les donne. Je te les donne. So it could be je donne à toi les clés. Les clés, the keys. Je te les donne. Nous la leur demandons. We're going to demandons. So that would be like we are asking them a question. La question, nous la leur demandons. Nous la leur demandons. Nous demandons une question, la question à ces personnes-là. So, nous demandons la question au professeur, because we're plural. We're asking them the question. Nous la leur demandons. So that is the order. Now, what if you have a me and a lui or a leur? Let's think of a sentence that would work with that. Je te la. Oh, I'm sorry. What if we have one of these indirect and one of these direct object? Je te la donne. Okay, je te la donne. But if it's a direct object and you have lui or leur, it has to be like this. Je la leur donne. I give it to you, or so it's confusing, right? Because we have these. Let's go like that. Let's put a little line. It goes in a different boom and boom. The order of the direct object changes. Je te la donne. Let's see, what am I going to give you? How about an apple? Je te donne une ou la pomme. Je te donne la pomme. Now I'm going to give them the apple. Je leur donne la pomme. So that would be je te la donne. Erase that. Je te la donne. I give you the apple. Je la leur donne. I give them the apple. Je leur donne la pomme. Je la leur donne. Okay. Let's move on. Here's a bunch of the examples of this. Tu donnes le livre à moi, je me le donne. Elle écrit un mail à ses amis, elle le leur écrit. J'ai prêté la calculatrice à mon ami, je la lui ai prêtée. So here we have the direct object pronoun, la, before the verb. So we have to have that agree. I lent to her the calculator. Il va demander une question prof, il va la lui demander. He is going to ask the professor the question. Lui is the professor, la is the question. Okay, so here's some examples that let's see if you can stare at these and come up with an answer. So we have, je donne le café à mon mari. So what would that be? You have to think, I'm giving it to him. What am I giving to him? The coffee. So him is this guy, the coffee is that. Donc, the order is le lui. Je le lui donne. Je le lui donne. All right. Je le lui donne. There it is. Je le lui donne. Nous parlons le français à vous. Nous, vous, le. So there's the vous. Nous, vous, le. Parlons. Nous vous le parlons. Okay. So we're finally getting to this on. So on, e is pronounced e, on is pronounced on. The e replaces a place. So these pronouns are always replacing a person, place, or thing. E is replacing a place. So it's like there, T-H-E-R. Je suis allée en France. J'y suis allée. Tu mets le livre sur la table. Il met le livre sur la table. Il y met le livre. Tu vas aller au cinéma. Tu vas y aller. So, allons à la Nouvelle-Écosse. Oui, allons-y. On peut aller au cinéma. On y va. It should be on y va. Let me cross that out. Boop. It should be on y va. That means we look there. Just a little mistake. Okay, let us move on. On y va. Replaces quantities of things. So tu as trois frères? Oui, tu en as trois. Un is the three of them. Three of them. Elle a acheté 5 livres. Elle en a acheté 5. 5 of them. Vous avez beaucoup de cousins? Vous en avez beaucoup. I have a lot of them. Madame White. Vous avez des sœurs? Non, je n'en ai pas. Je n'en ai pas. I don't have any. Français 102. Vous avez beaucoup de devoirs pour vos cours? Oui, nous en avons beaucoup. Nous n'en avons pas beaucoup. So we don't have a lot of it. We do have a lot of it. Any way you want to slice it. Okay, so on also replaces anything that is de. Il a peur des souris. Il en a peur. He has fear of them. Tu as besoin d'un couteau? Oui, tu en as besoin. I need the knife. You need the knife? Yeah, I need of it, is how you'd say it. I need it. Elle fait de la natation. Elle en fait de la natation. Tu veux du chocolat? Oui, j'en veux. Il a peur des serpents? Oui, il en a peur. He is afraid of them. I want some of it. Vous voudrez un peu de fromage? Oui, j'en voudrais bien. So, of things. Tu as une sœur? Oui, j'en ai une. Non, je n'en ai pas. So, the negation goes around the on and the verb, the past participle, and there you have your ne pas. Ils sont allés à Nice? Oui, ils y sont allés. Non, ils n'y sont pas allés. Okay, let's look at these. I'm not going to click yet. I want you to think about it, and I'll break it down a little bit. So here we have, tu mets la composition sur le bureau. So this is a place. This is a direct object. What is the order? So la is going to be before e. So this would be your e. And this would be your direct object la. Tu mets, you put the composition on the bureau. So what does that turn into? It turns into this. Tu lui mets. Oh, that is a la composition. It should be la composition. You know what? I'm going to go back in here and try to fix that because that's going to drive me out of my mind. Seeing that le composition. It's la composition. Exit. Boop. La composition. What was the other one that was driving me out of my mind? Boop, 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 boop. The voix. On y voit. Yeah, no, it should be on y va. On y va. Okay, let's go back to. Boop. Okay, donc, tu lui mets la composition sur le bureau. So the E is here. You put it there. So that means you put it there. It there. It, le, L apostrophe, la composition, I sur le bureau, the place. Il y a 21 élèves ici. There are 20 of them here. So what would that be? You don't need the Y, it's not a place. You need the on. There's 20 of them. Il y en a 21. Il y en a 21. There's 20 of them. 20 of who? Ou 21, 21 of whom? Of the students. Il y en a 21. Elle parle prof de la composition. So this is another example of the on. The de la composition is going to be replaced with an on. So she speaks to the professor. So you need indirect object pronoun because it's the little preposition to, right? She speaks to the professor of the composition. And so what is it going to be? Boom. Elle lui en parle. Elle lui en parle. Okay, I think that's the last example of that. Oh, there's a couple more. So, tu vas au Texas? Oui, j'y vais au Texas. Tu as envie du chocolat? Oui, j'en ai envie. Boy, that's another one that's going to drive me out of my mind. J'en ai envie. Let me fix that too. Bof. Madame White. J'en ai envie. Voilà, j'en ai envie. Okay, boom. J'en ai envie. J'y vais. J'en ai envie. Tu vas au Texas et vous avez la négation. So this would be negation. So it's the same. You have your E for a place. Je n'y vais pas. Je n'y vais pas. Tu as envie du chocolat? Non, je n'en ai pas envie. I do not have envie of it. And I believe that is the last slide. So we're going to look at this a little bit in the book as well. This little thing, this table showing you the order of things, when you have direct object pronouns in a sentence, if you have a me, tu, nous, or vous, it's going to go before the le, la, les, which are going to go before the lui and leur. The e becomes the last thing before the on, on, hence the donkey. On. Okay, let us go to the book. So let me get out of here for a moment. and find the window with the book. Et donc, à la maison. So let's look at the pronouns a little bit in the grammar. So I just feel like this is something that would be hard for me to understand if I were taking it online. So here is the explanation. This is the grammar that you do every week. This is the whole explanation of to where. And so let's just see. Fiona passe ses après-midi à la bibliothèque. So it's a place, right? So you have to remember, where does she spend her afternoons? À la bibliothèque. Donc Fiona y passe ses après-midi. And so I would really read the explanations and really try to get the gist of the pronouns y and on. There's the on, pronoun on. So let's just look at those really quickly. Tammy, tu me demandes du gâteau au chocolat? Oui, je t'en demande. Oui, je t'en demande. Voilà. So there, what is she asking for? Some chocolate. I'm asking you for some of it. Okay, so let's look in the book and see. Boop. Okay, le pronom y. Okay, qu'est-ce qu'on y achète? So look at how these are places. Qu'est-ce qu'on achète? Donc, à la boulangerie, au tabac, à la gare, à la librairie, à la charcuterie, à la pâtisserie, à la boucherie. Donc, regardons un petit peu. Alors, à la boulangerie, on y achète du pain. Au tabac, on y achète des cigarettes. À la gare, on y achète un billet de train. À la librairie, on y achète des livres, n'est-ce pas? À la charcuterie, on y achète un rôti, a little roasted piece of meat. À la pâtisserie, on y achète des éclairs. So remember that the pâtisserie is where you get sweeter things filled with cream, whereas la boulangerie is more bread. À la boucherie, on y achète, qu'est-ce qu'on achète? Oh no, I messed up. It's the rôti is for the boucherie, and the charcuterie is for the, where's that charcuterie? I don't think I can move it. The charcuterie is le saucisson. Donc la boucherie, le rôti, so charcuterie tends to be pork products. À l'épicerie, on y achète, qu'est-ce qu'on achète? Ah, du lait. À l'épicerie, on y achète du lait. So the E in all of those represents those places. Okay, let's do some more. And let's erase that. Okay, erase. So these are little devinettes, which means riddles. So, on y voit la tour Eiffel. On y voit la tour Eiffel. So where do you see it? La tour Eiffel à Paris. À Paris. On y voit la tour à Paris. On y étudie. So where do you study? On y étudie. So numéro 1, on y voit la Tour Eiffel. À Paris. So remember the E represents a place where. On y étudie. À, moi j'étudie au café. Au café. Numéro 3. On y achète les livres pour les cours. Alors, où est-ce qu'on achète les livres? À la librairie. On y travaille sur l'ordinateur, peut-être au bureau, in an office, ou à la bibliothèque. À la bibliothèque, n'est-ce pas? On s'y repose à la maison. Moi, je me repose à la maison normalement. À la maison. So see, these are all places that are being filled in for the Y. On y passe l'aspirateur à la maison. Encore, numéro 6, à la maison, ou on peut dire sur le tapis, on the carpet. On y va quand on est malade. Où est-ce qu'on va quand on est malade? Normalement, on va à l'hôpital, n'est-ce pas? On va à l'hôpital. On va à l'hôpital. Donc, si on est malade, on va à l'hôpital ou à l'hôpital. On y va quand on y fait la vaisselle. On y fait la vaisselle. So la vaisselle is doing dishes, which ties in with the chapter, right? Because it's dans la, where do you do your dishes? Dans la cuisine. Alors. Okay, let's go to some on exercises. So there's lots and lots of E exercises here. Let us look at on. Okay, so on again replaces some of something. So here we go. J'en ai acheté. J'en ai acheté. So what is it going to be? It has to be the past, right? J'en ai acheté, it has to be some of something. Donc, par exemple, j'ai acheté du pain. J'en ai acheté. J'en ai acheté un. J'avais besoin d'un nouvel ordinateur. So I bought one. You're not going to buy a bunch. J'en ai acheté un. J'en ai acheté une. Une. Donc, j'ai acheté une poubelle. I bought one of them. One garbage can. J'en avais besoin. J'en avais besoin. So I needed some of it. J'avais besoin d'un nouvel ordinateur. So I used j'en ai acheté un, and it could be also, what else? It could have been the aspirateur. J'en ai acheté un aspirateur. J'en avais besoin d'un, j'avais besoin d'un nouvel ordinateur. Il y en avait beaucoup. Il y en avait beaucoup. Par exemple, il y avait beaucoup de monde. Il y avait beaucoup de monde. Il y en avait peu. Il y avait peu de sold. So sold or sales. So they only had a little of them. They had a lot of them. I needed one of them. I just needed something. I bought one of them feminine. I bought one of them masculine. And I bought one in the past tense, or some in the past tense. So on represents some of it, or of them. So let's look at these little devinettes. Okay. Il y en a dans la salle de classe. il y en a dans la salle de classe. So, malheureusement, on n'est pas dans la salle de classe, mais normalement, il y en a dans la salle de classe des stylos. Des stylos. Il y en a dans la salle de classe, some of them. Let's see if I can make that bigger. Il y en a dans la salle de classe. On en mange chez Ben & Jerry's. Alors, de la glace, n'est-ce pas? De la glace. Les étudiants en ont besoin. Les étudiants en ont besoin. So what do you guys need? Students need them. For example, de bons professeurs. Bons professeurs. Les étudiants en ont besoin. Le professeur de français en a une. So what do I have that's feminine? That's one. Par exemple, le professeur de français a une voiture. I have one of them. Une voiture. Les étudiants offrent au professeur à la fin du semestre. Oh, I do get presents from students occasionally. Donc, des cadeaux, par exemple. Les étudiants en font tous les jours. Et les étudiants, ils en font tous les jours. I don't know. What do you guys do every day? Du sport, peut-être? Du sport. Les étudiants en font tous les jours. Du sport. Votre université en a beaucoup. Okay, so your university has a lot of them. Des étudiants, bien sûr. Des étudiants. Vous en avez un. Peut-être vous en avez un. Est-ce que vous avez un vélo? Vous avez un vélo. Oui, j'en ai un. So the response, oui, j'en ai un. Oui. J'en ai un. Okay, so we are almost out of time. So what I'm going to do is tell you what your quiz is on tomorrow. It's going to be on direct and indirect object pronouns. You cannot get enough of them. So that will be visible tomorrow. Let's look at Moodle quickly and see, wrong Moodle class. Oh, there you are, French. All right, so that is your class. Let's go to chapter 8. So you have 2 things due tomorrow on the 6th of November. You have to do your dream house. And you're going to have, oh, wait, you do not have a quiz tomorrow. The quiz will be on the 13th. And your maison de rêve is on the 6th. So you can look at examples right here. There's all kinds of examples in maison de rêve. There's an example that I made, maison avec des détails architecture. Here's a PowerPoint with maison. And here's something I had put up in the past because some of my students would do McMansions as their house of the dream. Their dream house, maison de rêve, is a dream house. And so architects do not like McMansions, big houses with lots of irrelevant details like awkward little doors. So you can just look at that and think about, is that really what you want? A maison de rêve that architects and design people think are not very pretty. So anywho, maybe that is what you want, and that is fine too. Okay, so just to finalize everything, you will have a quiz on the 13th, not tomorrow. You have your Petit Projet 4 due tomorrow, and you have your final the week after. So not this coming week, not the week that ends on Friday the 13th, the week after you will have a final, and it will be cumulative, meaning chapters 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so I'm going to stop that. And I will send you guys this video, and you will also have a little reminder in your email what you need to do this week. Au revoir.